completion of the journey, circling back to the beginning, integrating what was learned. We are going to talk about blocks and downward facing dog today. So there are two types of blocks. There are cork blocks and foam blocks. And this is a high density foam block, and I will say that this supports me the same as this. This one is much heavier, and I think the nice thing about these blocks is that you can kind of move them much more easily. So if you're going to flow with a block in hand, this would be an easier option. But these are much more dense, and so I feel like a little bit more supportive. So those are your two options. I have them listed down below in my Amazon store. So if you're like, where can I even get blocks? Specifically these ones, because they're so fun and shiny and beautiful. And if you like content like this, where I am breaking down different poses and trying to get you to try yoga in a larger or plus size body, then make sure you subscribe. And it can be a larger body, it could be a body that has never tried yoga before, or even like just a body that you feel like could never have, like it's not flexible enough for yoga. I want to teach yoga to all bodies, especially people who have the belief that they can't do yoga. So yoga's about the breath. So if you can breathe, you can do yoga. So let's jump into it. Okay, so for our first option, we are going to flow through a Sun A, and I'm going to flow the entire time using blocks. So this breakdown will be of Sun A with blocks in hands the entire time. So just beginning at the top of our mats, let's plant our feet down, maybe lift up our heels, and then just kind of feel into our bodies. Inhale, let's scoop up the arms, circling them up above our heads. Blocks are in hands. Inhale, we reach up, and then exhale, we slowly begin to hinge at the hips. Arms come out in front of us. Blocks are in our hands, so we bring our blocks down to the ground for support. Maybe take our feet a little bit wider, bend our knees, and then I like to just kind of let the belly sit between the thighs. Relax your head, look to the back of the mat. Inhale, we rise up, halfway lift. We look between our hands. Exhale, fold. And then plant our hands on the blocks. And I like to have this second setting of blocks. So there's a tall setting, a medium setting, and then the flat setting. So let's do that second setting where we're on that, like that second height. Plant your hands down, and I like to take my toes out. And this gives me enough leverage so that when my knees are coming out, I can put my hands down to the ground and step back a little bit more easily. And so decide, knees up or knees down. And then you can just kind of lift the blocks up and place them wherever you need. And then grip with the fingertips here. And think about your elbows. Creases facing out. So when you bend your elbows, they're tucked in by your side. So lower down an inch here, and then push right back up. Engage your core, and then we look forward. And this might be your upward facing dog, or maybe we sit our hips a little bit more forward, and then this is our upward facing dog. So whichever version feels good on your back. So decide. On that next exhale, we sit our hips back, our knees are bent, tuck our toes, and then maybe we stay here, so it's like a knees down, down dog, or maybe we tuck our toes and lift our hips up, and then maybe take our feet a little bit wider, relax our head so we're looking towards the back of the mat or inside of our shirt if you're me. Take a deep breath here, push the booty back. And then relax the hands. Think about tucking in those elbows, gripping the block. And if you feel like your blocks are slipping a little bit, just take a step forward. You don't have to put a ton of pressure onto the blocks. the goal here is to really kind of like stretch out the backs of the legs, stretch out your low back. And if you're using blocks to alleviate like pain in the wrist or anything like that, taking a step forward will really help with that. On that next exhale, come back into a three-legged. So bringing one foot up to the sky, flexing the foot, and then three-legged dog can tend to kind of open up to the side. So the hip likes to raise. So try to keep both of the hips closed. And it makes it to where you can't raise up your leg as much, but that's okay. Bend your knee and then bring it in to your core and tuck your chin down. So now you're kind of like arching in this down dog. And then lean forward, lean, and then step your foot down. Take a deep breath here. You could even kind of push into the belly to give yourself a little bit more space. And we look forward. And this sets us up for so many poses, but let's just step our back foot forward. Inhale, we lift up halfway. Exhale, we fold, and maybe we take our feet a little wider. And then bend your knees a lot, and I like to scoop up energy here. And then exhale, hands come right back to heart center. And actually, I should have grabbed my blocks as I came up. All right, shake it out. And we'll do that one more time just to kind of get a flow going. And then also work on that other side. So inhale, we circle. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, plant your hands, step your feet back, find your plank. And I like to lower down to my knees. Bend at the elbows, tucking into the sides, and then push right back up. Hips come forward or stay where they're at for upward facing. And then hips move back, tuck the toes to side, knees up, knees down, down dog. Step feet in or maybe leave them where they're at. Relax your head, look to the back of the mat. Take a deep breath here. Plant that right foot to the middle of your mat, kind of like giving yourself like a tripod. So it's planted like between where the hands are in the back of the mat. Level off your hips, flex your foot. Bring your knee in, point your toe, and then find that little arch in your back, and then step your foot forward. Take a deep inhale here. Step your back foot forward. Inhale, we rise up halfway. Exhale, fold. Maybe take your feet a little wider. And then inhale, scoop back up. Exhale, hands come right back to heart center. Go ahead and shake it out. Good job, friends. All right, so that was the version of this with blocks and hands. Let's go ahead and do the version where we are reaching for our blocks. So I'll set my foam blocks aside and I'll grab cork blocks so that you can see them better for when I'm grabbing them. All right, so I have them just like where I would maybe need them. So I'm not necessarily holding them the entire time. It's just an extra thought that you have to kind of take yourself through when you're doing this. So bring your feet to the front and maybe we take our feet a little bit wider. Wiggle the hips. And then when you're ready, let's find our mountain. So palms are facing out, relax our shoulders, and then circle the arms, reaching up. Exhale, maybe bring our hands to prayer and we come down the midline as we hinge at the hips. Plant your hands on the blocks here. And like I said, you can have this tallest setting, this medium setting, or this flat setting. I personally like this medium setting, but if you need the tall one, that's fine too. Inhale, we rise up halfway. So it's a flat back, so it's making an L shape. Exhale, we fold. And again, feet are a little bit wider. I like to kind of bring my knees out. Belly sits between the thighs, bring the knees back in, okay? And then whenever we're ready, toes come out. Plant the hands, and this leverages ourselves so that we can step one foot back and the other foot back. Decide, knees up, knees down. Engage your core, and then elbows are out, and we are now on our blocks. We're already there. But if we're like, I don't need blocks right now, I can set them back, and I can go all the way down to the mat, because this is what I want. All I want is blocks for down dog. So gripping with my fingertips, I lower down, and my belly's on the mat. Inhale, maybe I just do like a little baby cobra, or maybe I press into my hands and do an up dog. And then I bend my knees, tuck my toes, and this is where I would maybe reach for my blocks. So we know we're going into down dog, and you just need to have that extra thought of, okay, let's put them under our hands and then tuck our toes and lift up our hips. And what you might even do is plant the hands, lift up into down dog, and go, yeah, I need my blocks. So set our knees down and then put blocks under hands. It doesn't really matter, right? It's your practice, so you can do it however you want to get there. If you want to try down dog without blocks first, that's what you do. If you want to go right into it with blocks, that's what you do. So here we are, we're in down dog with blocks. Maybe take our feet a little bit wider, relax our head, look to the back of the mat. And then the rest of the posture is going to look very similar to the other one. Bring our left foot to the middle of the mat, right foot comes up, so hips are aligned. Flex the foot as your foot raises, and then as you bring your toes, your knees in, we point the toe, and we really kind of arch our backs. And when we're ready, we step our foot forward. So we're not really like trying to use any type of like swing through. It's a step, intentionally step through. And you can see my foot kind of lands behind my blocks, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to have your foot between your feet. Even with blocks, that's where my foot lands. And I like to kind of take my knee off to the side, push in to my thigh, and then bring my knee back in line. So it gives me that extra space, so as I'm sitting here, I can get a little extra stretch in my leg. And then when I'm ready, I step my other foot forward. Inhale, I lift up halfway. Exhale, fold. Bend my knees and then scoop up energy. And then exhale, hands to heart center. And then let's go into it for the other side. Circle the arms. Exhale, we fold. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, bend the knees. Take the toes out. So when I say toes out, this is what I mean. Bending the knees, and I sit my hands between my thighs. And this is such a good practice for anybody with a belly, because then I can lean forward and use that leverage to step my feet back. If I was to bring my knees like this, I would need to set them down and then bring it back. There's just this extra amount of support that happens when your knees go out in this posture. So knees out, hands are planted on the mat or the blocks. Step our feet back, finding our plank. Knees down, knees up, it's up to you. Elbows are forward, so we tuck into the elbows by our sides as we lower down. And then inhale, baby cobra or up dog. And then when we're ready, we tuck our toes and maybe decide, do we want blocks or no blocks? So we're going blocks for me. Bend the knees, maybe take the feet a little bit wider, relax your head, and then maybe bring those elbows in a little bit. Take a deep breath here. Bring that right foot to the middle of the mat, left foot comes up, stack the hips. So actually, stack the hips isn't bad. We want to level the hips, so the hips are the same level. And then bring that knee in. We're finding that crouching tiger, hidden dragon. Point the toe, and then lean forward, lean, 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 and then step it forward. Take a deep breath. Maybe you adjust the belly as you kind of get that foot forward, and then we step that right foot forward. Inhale, flat back, L shape. Exhale, we fold. And And then bend the knees and scoop up that energy. Bringing your hands all the way back up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And that's it, friends. 2 ways to use blocks in your downward facing dog. If you like practices like this, you like my vibe, be sure to subscribe. Hey, that rhymed. And I have a ton of yoga courses down below. They are all 70% off, as well as a free 60-minute yoga class. So if you need more from me, I do have a free 60-minute yoga class that gets you on my email newsletter, where I send out emails on a regular basis letting you know what is up. And be sure to check out all of my YouTube videos. I have a ton of different types of videos, anything from like living intentionally all the way to like just yoga flows like this. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.